Well, it is Tuesday and the league is already on fire. Stephon Diggs, Deontay Johnson, Joe Flacco. Who the hell knows what's coming next, but I got picks for every single game heading into week 9. So sit down, buckle up, and let's make it happen. Yo, Dave Loughy here. As always, appreciate you guys helping me feed the algorithm. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Let me know your favorite picks for this game. And as always, shop around every book you get. Every opportunity to get the best odds, whether it be touchdown props or even sides, it's going to go a super long way in expanding your bankroll and putting more money in your pocket. So if you're in any of these states on the screen, Bet365, go grab your $200 in bonus bets. Sign up, links in the description and in the pinned comment if you haven't done so yet. And keep in mind, every Thursday, bet on Bet365 because they give $10 out in bonus bets per every touchdown scored. What does that mean? I'll tell you. It means that we've made, those of us on this channel, in this show, in the Discord, we've made about 300 in bonus bets just over the last 5 weeks of Thursday Night Football by placing same game parlays on that game. So whenever I get the opportunity to tell you guys, but not only that, to collect it myself, I'm doing it. Anyway, all you do, deposit 10, bet 5, get 200 in bonus bets instantly as it settles, even if it's a live bet on Thursday Night Football, plus $10 in bonus bets every touchdown scored in those Thursday games. Link in the description and in pinned comment. Takes a minute to get verified, and you are in. 21 years or older to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. But aside from that, let's talk some football and kick it off with Thursday night. All right, so the Jets are at home on Thursday night against the Texans. What a game this has become, because the Jets are coming off an embarrassingly bad loss to the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. And the Texans, on the other hand, just lost Stephon Diggs for the season to an ACL. Nico Collins isn't coming back till at least week 10. So you look at this and you go, what's the line here? I think if you ask most people, they'd still think that Houston should be favored, but they're 1.5-point dogs, 2 in some spots. You know, the Jets have lost 5 straight games. They're coming off an embarrassing loss, yet they're still favored at home. And I'll tell you what, there's no lack of talent here, but there's also no excuses. Like, you have on offense, Breece Hall, Devontae Adams, you have Garrett Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't been good, but he hasn't been terrible either. And then you got Hassan Reddick finally ending his holdout. So they should have the bodies on defense as well. They've been the most disappointing team in football this season, hands down. But I will tell you this much, and I've said this a lot lately. The Texans, despite the fact that they're 6-2, they have not looked dominant. Like, if you've watched these games, teams are hanging around against them, inferior teams, like Anthony Richardson. The fact that the guy was 10 for 32 with an interception, terrible interception, 2 fumbles, lost one of them last week, and the Texans held on by 3. The injuries there are a big deal. And if Flacco was under center last week, other than Richardson, the Colts probably win that game straight up. So yeah, you know what? It's gross, but sometimes you bet the gross games. Give me the Jets. Get them at -1.5, -110 too. Standard juice on these, -110. Ugly way to start week 9. But all signs point towards this one being Jets, and I think people are going to like the Texans, because who wants to bet on the Jets right now? Chargers at the Browns. Let's start off the Sunday slate with a fun one. Chargers 2-point favorites on the road, 42-point total. You know, if Deshaun Watson's time in Cleveland wasn't already going to be remembered with scowls and just a sour taste, Jameis Winston beating the Ravens at home in his first start totally solidified Watson's legacy as maybe the worst Brown ever. Like, I'm not even sure that's hyperbole at this point. Trent Richardson, forget about it. Who cares? Johnny Manziel, whatever. Josh Gordon, okay, the guy liked to do drugs. Give him a break. But when he was out there, he was pretty good, right? I mean, it's Watson, just the worst of the worst. He wears the crown now. Anyway, you guys already know that I've been betting the Browns a lot this year, more than I should. And it's been a mixed bag. Some wins, some losses. We should have got that win against Cincinnati. But we bet them last week too. So it shouldn't surprise anyone I'm going right back to the well this week. And consider a couple things here, like this. The offensive line is finally healthy again. Okay, finally healthy, especially if they get Jedrick Wills back. That's a huge deal. Like, when healthy, this is one of the best O-lines in the league. And you don't have a skittish dude in there like Watson either. Also, the defense is still very good, even with the injuries to Ward in the backfield. They got a couple injuries in the defense. They're still very good. And third, probably most importantly, Jameis Winston, as we saw last week, is a major, major upgrade from Deshaun Watson. Major upgrade from Deshaun Watson. Like, think about this for a second. The Browns. Everyone said the Browns are terrible. The Browns aren't terrible. Deshaun Watson was terrible. And now you've got a healthy O-line, a good defense. They're 2-point dogs at home. I think it looks pretty good. And as much as I love Justin Herbert, this is still not a potent offense at all. And we've seen that, unless they're facing the New Orleans Saints, right? This is not a potent offense. I think they have a difficult time moving the football in this game. I'm a big Herbert, big Jim Harbaugh fan. Give me the Browns as 2-point dogs here. You want to bet them on the money line, go for it. But I like the spread number at 2. Give me the under in this game as well, 42. Chargers, bad offense, great defense this season. Great defense for Cleveland. Could see an ugly game that turns out with us taking both of these home. Bills hosting the Dolphins. Bills 6.5-point favorites, 49-point total. You know, I did like the Dolphins last week. Of our kind of 3 favorite spots, and I'll let you know, there are some select spots that I like this week. Like that Brown spot, definitely. I actually do like the Jets a decent amount at -1.5. I think it's a come down spot for Houston. And then there's also games that I don't want to touch, and we'll get to those. We're going to pick our spots. We'll be selective. Why not, right? But the Bills 6.5-point favorites against the Dolphins team that I liked last week. You know, we like the Dolphins a lot. We like the Browns. We like the Raiders. Who would have thought the Browns win outright, the Raiders cover against the Chiefs, and the Dolphins are the ones to let us down. But Josh Allen's 11-2 for his career against the Dolphins. I mean, he's just owned this team. He really has. And Buffalo's firing on all cylinders right now. You're seeing the true emergence of Keon Coleman, rookie receiver. Khalil Shakir looks great. And they just added Amari Cooper, who's now going into his 3rd game with this team. I don't want to lay the points here because I still think it's going to be a competitive spot, and I respect Miami when Tua is healthy, despite what we saw last week against the Cardinals. But I love this as a teaser spot. I mean, you look at what Josh Allen's done straight up, 11-2 against the Dolphins for his career. We'll hit on the other 2 teaser spots for 6 points later in this video. So what I'd say, add the Buffalo Bills 6-point teaser to your bet slip right now. Pause this, do it, and come back to it when we've got our other 2 plays fired up. We'll get a little 3-team 6-point teaser going for week 9 with the Bills kicking it off. Broncos at the Ravens. Ravens 9-point favorites, 44.5-point total. I have a sneaky suspicion this is a comeback to earth spot for Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and the Denver Broncos. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Totally possible. They've won 5 of their last 6, beating up on just bad or highly injured teams along the way. And seriously, if you look at their schedule, could they have run any better? Panthers, Saints, Raiders, Jets, Bucks missing half their defense. And I love Bo Nix, by the way. I said it coming into the season. But I actually think he's going to be good. But this is not the spot for me this week. Even with the Ravens secondary being banged up, we'll see. They could get him back, right? They could get 2 key corners back. But even if they don't, like the Broncos defense, the quarterbacks they faced recently, Bryce Young with no pass catchers. By the way, Deontay Johnson just got traded to the Ravens 5 minutes ago before I started recording this video. That helps. Then they had Spencer Rattler, Justin Herbert, who beat them, Gardner Minshew, and then Aaron Rodgers, who's been bad in that game, was crazy with wind and rain, and also Baker Mayfield. Credit them there. Baker Mayfield's awesome. That's who they faced since week 3. So this is just far and away their stiffest test yet against Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and likely Deontay Johnson as well, probably in a limited capacity. I don't usually like betting Lamar Jackson as a big favorite, but the inexperience of Bo Nix here in this spot could be enough to put us over the top. Give me the Ravens, -9 at home. It's a big number, I know, but give me the Ravens. Raiders at the Bengals. All right, so Joe Burrow, after getting smoked by the Eagles last week, when asked by the media about their playoff chances, I loved his response. He essentially was like, well, what does it usually take? 10 games you get in usually? He's like, well, we got 9 left. We got to win 7 of those? Seems doable. I'm paraphrasing, of course. I kind of love that, though. I also don't love that the Bengals are 7.5-point favorites. When I said there's a lot of games that we probably won't be hitting on, this is one of them. Like, if you wanted to tease the Bengals down, I have no problem with that. I actually think the Bengals win this game. This is more of a fade for me, and it's not because I like the Raiders. Don't get me wrong. The Raiders are not a good football team right now. They have no Devontae Adams. Brock Bowers is sick. Don't get me wrong. Jacoby Myers is fine. The defense is troublesome. The Bengals should win this game. They need to win this game. If they lose this game, it's pretty much over for them. They need to win it. They will win it. But their defense is just so suspect that when you're laying big points on the Bengals, what exactly is the thought process there, right? And we don't know if T. Higgins is going to be back either, which kind of hamstrings that offense. It's not like they have other great pass catchers. So it's a pass. But I might tease the Bengals. I might add the Bengals in a 6-point teaser. I think like if you're getting them down to 1.5, that makes a lot of sense. I don't want to lay 7.5 there. Also, I just have zero faith in the Raiders either. Commanders laying 3.5 on the road against the Giants. How lucky did they get last week? What an awful screw up by the Bears. My God. Anyway, 43.5 point total. The Giants are bad, but I'll take them outside of field goal here at home. Maybe our gross game of the week. They would have beat Washington in week 2 if Graham Gano didn't get hurt on a kick return and trying to stop Eckler. That's true, by the way. Go back and look at it. Like, they would have won that game for sure. Now, obviously, we've seen 2 entirely different trajectories for these teams since then, since week 2. Like, this is what it looks like for the Commanders, just going, parabolic rise. Outside of last week, honestly, we would have been singing a different tune if they lost that game with 12 points on the board. And for the Giants, it looks a bit like that. So, yeah, not great. The Commanders are vulnerable, though. And, despite everything I just said, the Giants are still only 3.5 point dogs. Does that not tell us something? Washington's been an impressive team thus far, no doubt. Give Joe Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn a ton of credit with the defense, with the offense, all of that. The Commanders, though, managed 12 points before an absurd Hail Mary from Jaden Daniels and a historically bad screw-up by Tariq Stevenson, taunting the crowd, coming back and being the one to tip the ball that ended up being caught. Crazy. It's just, they're good. That's true. But I also think they're a little bit overvalued right now. And I've consistently gotten Washington wrong this year. So keep that in mind when I tell you I'm taking the Giants, when I'm taking the points at 3.5. That's where I'm going right now. I haven't bet this one yet. The few spots I have bet, I did bet the Browns, I did bet the Jets, and a few others coming up in just a second. But I haven't bet this one yet. I don't even know if I will. I'd lean Giants, though, at 3.5 point dogs at home. Cowboys at Falcons. Falcons laying 2.5, 52 point total. This is just the type of game the Cowboys win. I mean, it really is. You think about it. If they win this game, they're 4-4. They're right back in the thick of it. And the books, are begging you to take the Falcons at 2.5, right? Why aren't they bigger favorites at home against the Cowboys team that's been lifeless almost all season? Even the Cowboys win by a couple points over Pittsburgh. They win by 5 against the Giants. They haven't. What convincing wins do the Cowboys have this year? Oh, the Browns. That's right. In week 1, Deshaun Watson, though, was the reason. I don't know, though, man. The Falcons stack up better in this spot pretty much everywhere, but they're also the type of team that just always lets opponents hang around. We saw it last week against a Bucs team that has been dismantled due to injuries because they don't have a pass rush. They have 6 sacks on the season. 6 sacks. They don't generate any pressure. And I think Micah Parsons should be back. You would think so for this week. Bolster Dallas's defense. We bet Geno Smith and the Seahawks in Atlanta 2 weeks ago for similar reasons, and it worked out well. I don't see this spot being all that much different, to be honest with you. And yeah, the Cowboys are reeling right now, and they've had some embarrassing losses, but those games came against the Saints. Whatever. That you could just say that's bad. Against the Ravens and against the Lions. They hung around against the Niners. A 6-point loss and in a must-win. It was a must-win home game for the Niners in that competitive NFC West. I also think CeeDee Lamb can dominate against the Falcons defense that has they've limited big plays, but they allow the highest completion percentage to opposing passers than any team in football. I mean, Baker Mayfield went and carved them up with guys like Cade Otton, Jalen McMillan, Trey Palmer, and Sterling Shepard last week. You know what? Give me the Cowboys plus 2.5. On the road. Feels gross, but I'm going to do it. Patriots at the Titans. You know what? I said the Giants was the game of the week. It was the gross game, but I haven't bet that yet. I have bet this one. The Titans -3. The Titans are bad. So are the Patriots. And I'm not buying into last week's divisional win over the Jets as a sign of life for New England. I'm just simply not. You would think that Drake May misses this game with a concussion. Why rush this guy back in a lost season? That would be crazy. And hilariously, last week, the Lions dropped 52 points on the Titans. They had 225 total yards of offense. Now, look, I'm not trying to dig up some stuff and be like, see, the Titans are actually good. All I'm saying is their defense isn't as bad as you would think. Their defense, their run defense, their pass secondary, even without L'Jarius Sneed, well, he's been terrible. PFF has him graded as the worst cover corner in the league this year, or coverage, as far as corners go. But Detroit just found 1,000 ways to score in that game. They're opportunistic. They're talented everywhere. The Patriots aren't. I'm glad Detroit did because we bet them at -11, but there's so much parity in this league. things change week over week, no doubt. It's also equally funny that the Titans are coming off such a disastrous loss, back-to-back terrible losses, and they're favored in this game. But I like them. I like them at -3. It kind of sets up for the win and the cover. Think about it, okay? New England's coming off a highly emotional home win against the Jets, and the Titans are coming off an embarrassing, brutal blowout on the road, but traveling back home. These are just the spots that I like to bet. You know, give me the Titans -3. I bet it already. Saints at the Panthers. Okay, let's keep this quick. The Saints are 7-point favorites. You know what? We've bet against the Panthers all season. Outside of week 1, we said maybe they'll be better. Then, unlike other people, we learned from our mistakes, and we have not bet the Panthers again all season. In the only other game they won against the Raiders, we didn't bet the Raiders, we didn't bet the Panthers, we bet the over and crushed it, okay? So let's stick with what's worked for us. Let's go over here. Even if Andy Dalton isn't back, I truly don't care. 45 points. Derek Carr is expected back. Alvin Kamara is healthy. Chris Olave is healthy. But the Saints defense has been terrible as well, to the point where Chuba Hubbard might just put up 21 points on his own. And as bad as Bryce Young is, without weapons, no Deontay Johnson, probably no Adam Thielen, I don't think it matters. This could be one of those games where the Saints win 38-10, or that is like 27-24. Either way, 45 points. Give me the over. Panthers have been playing that way recently. The defense is awful. And the Saints, you've been seeing a ton of overs with the Saints as well lately because they simply cannot stop anybody. So yeah, this is a spot where I think we see some scoring. This is going to be a great spot for player props too. I can't wait. As always, come join me over on Tails and in the premium Discord. NFL 24 gets you 50% off your first week or month. Less than $5 a week, less than $15 a month. If you want to check it out, links in the description and the pinned comment. Just click that. Use the promo code NFL24. Come say what's up in Discord. We've had a fantastic season thus far. We have. And last week, kind of rough. I think we're getting back on track because yesterday just hammered every over prop on Tyrone Tracy. They were giving us 22.5 rushing yards, 1.5 reception. We just like crazy stuff. We try to identify value. We look for ladder plays. We love our ladder plays. When the ladder plays hit, there's no more exciting feeling in betting. The round robins, the parlays, but also grinding out wins with those straight bets, trying to find plus EV spots. Come over, hang out. Again, like I said, you hate it. You're like, I spent $5. I spent less than $15. You can bounce, but I think you're going to like it. And I think you'll love the community as well. Anyway, NFL 24, 50% off your first week or month. Link down there in the description and comments. Say hi. Give me the over 45, Saints and Panthers. I'm not laying 7, and I'm not taking 7 with the Panthers. These teams cannot be trusted. Jags at Eagles. Ooh, Eagles 7-point favorites, 46-point total. Big number, but I got to lay the 7 on Philly this week. And I never do this with the Eagles. Christian Kirk's done for the year. Brian Thomas has a chest injury. I don't know if he's going to play. Even Gabe Davis is hurt. It's not just that, though. I mean, how does Jacksonville slow down this Eagles attack? Philly just routed the Bengals. It's only one game. I get that. Routed the Bengals, and now they face a Jags defense that can't stop the pass. They can't. They can't get pressure. They won't get pressure against this Philly offensive line, and they'll likely have no answers against Saquon Barkley anyway. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence, okay, he's been awful under pressure, really bad. One of the worst quarterbacks when pressured this year, and Philly's got one of the most ferocious pass rushes in football. Even if it's not necessarily indicated by sack totals, they're constantly getting pressure, hands in the face, knockdowns, pressure, you name it. That's a problem. And Vic Fangio's defense right now, they're beginning to round into form. Eagles look like they're headed in a totally different direction than the Jags. And Doug Peterson looks like he's heading out the door. The only answer here for the Jags is to get Tank Bigsby going on the ground, but I don't see them having success there either with the Eagles patching up those holes. So yeah, there's 7s out there. I think this closes past 7, 7.5, maybe even 8. Give me the 7 while it's still there. Eagles in this one at home against the Jags. Bears at the Cardinals, 44.5-point total. Bears 1-point favorites on the road. All right, so what an embarrassing way to lose the game for Chicago last week. We don't have to rehash it. But what I will say is I'm not sure this is like we'll come back stronger next week type of vibes. This might be a, hey, this game lingers with us for a long time, right? Or at least another week as you travel out west to Arizona. Meanwhile, the Cardinals actually have a little bit of momentum going right now. They took care of the Chargers. And by took care, I mean final drive, they got the win. Monday Night Football. They knocked off the Dolphins, and I didn't see that coming in Miami. I've been impressed and surprised with the way this kind of ragtag group of defenders has played. And Kyler Murray's hanging in there. He's doing what he needs to do to win. They've been a bend but don't break offense at times. I still don't see how you could really love either side in this game, though. That's what I'm getting at here. Like, yeah, if I'm leaning anywhere, it's Cardinals, just because after last week, I'm not sure I see the bounce back with Chicago. But at the same time, do I read too much into that? Do I put too much stock in that? Give me Cardinals +1 on the lean. Not betting this. I don't have a good read. I don't want to waste any more of your time on this one because we still got some good games to go. Let's talk Lions at Packers. Lions 3.5-point favorites at the Pack, 47.5-point total. I love betting on the Packers whenever anyone doesn't want to bet on Matt LaFleur and the Packers, especially at home. And this kind of feels like one of those spots. Jordan Love's questionable with a groin injury, although it looks like he actually has a decent shot at playing. The Lions are coming off a 52-14 rout of the Titans at home. Look, these are those gross spots no one wants to bet, and then they wonder how the hell they lost when being on the other side when all the dust settles. But Matt LaFleur is an excellent coach. I mean, look, you see what he managed to do in 2 starts with Malik Willis? They killed the Titans. They beat the Colts as 3-point dogs, which, looking back, is it that tough with the way Anthony Richardson's played? Here's what I'm going to do, though, because I don't want to lie to you guys and just be like, oh, yeah, you got to bet him at 3.5. No, here's why. We don't know if Love's going to play. And I'm not betting it yet because this line can absolutely and will move. If we see Jordan Love getting on the practice field, midweek, even in limited fashion, getting Green Bay outside of a field goal here at home, I really like. But right now, though, I don't want to touch it if it's Willis. Like, I respect LaFleur. I know what he can do with this team, but it's a high-powered offense and a greatly improved defense for Detroit. So if it's Willis, there's no way that this one closes at 3.5. So I would really just be happy to entertain either side of this one once we get the news one way or another and see where it goes from there. I'll drop these picks in the Discord, but we have to wait on this game right now. There's no point with other 14 games to be like, all right, this is the spot we're just going to guess. I don't want to guess here. Not yet. Rams at the Seahawks. Okay. Seahawks are dogs at home. Believe that? 48.5-point total. I was surprised, honestly, to see that they were dogs, but I guess that's what happens when you get crushed, just straight knocked around by the Bills at home the week before. Still, DK Metcalf should be back, which definitely moves the needle a bit for me. This guy's like an unrivaled talent when it comes to getting him the ball downfield if you're Geno Smith, with defenders draped all over him. It just doesn't matter. And I don't have the Seahawks as dogs here. Both teams are getting healthier. This obviously looks like a nice over spot as well. I think we see some scoring, but this is one of the best games of the week when you really dig into it. Think about this. Have you looked at the standings in the NFC West? Niners 4-4, Cardinals 4-4, Seahawks 4-4, Rams 3-4, but they've had a bye week. If they win this week, they're 4-4 as well. Absolute logjam. And here's what I want to do. Remember I talked about that teaser, keep it in the hopper, that 6-point teaser with the Bills? I don't usually tease teams up. I like to tease them down. This is a spot where I'm actually, might be the first time on this video at all that I've done it this year. I just can't see this game not being super competitive with how much is at stake. This game's in Seattle. Their defense is getting healthier. Metcalf should be back. I'm going to tease the Seahawks up to 7.5 and add them to this teaser with the Bills, and add if you want. If you want to go 2 teams, fine. If you want to get that juice down a little bit, get it to a 3-team teaser, add the Eagles 6-point teaser in there as well. So you get the Eagles to -1, you get the Bills to -0.5 point, and you get the you get the Seahawks north of 7.5 or 7 to 7.5 with the 6 points. That's the way I want to play this one. All right, Colts and Vikings. I saw this one still. I don't know if it's still there at +6 for the Colts over on Bet365. It had moved everywhere else, -5, -5.5. Grabbed it over on Bet365, and I'll tell you why. By the way, like I said, throw it on the screen again. If you're in any of these states, be the smart person. Collect your bonus bets. Get another book to shop the odds. Some soft odds there's a lot of times too. And get all your Thursday bonus bets as well. Link in the description, pin comment for that. Bet 10, deposit 10, bet 5, bet the 5 on whatever the hell you want. As soon as it settles, 200 bonus bets are in your account. I had so much written up for this game, but it all went out the window because 20 minutes ago, as I expected to happen, Richardson got benched. Flacco is starting. The Colts are 5-point dogs, and I still like it here. Look, Richardson was 10 of 32 with an interception, 2 fumbles, 1 loss last week. Across the board, just absolutely terrible stuff. Flacco changes the game. He doesn't make mistakes. He's conservative, but he's smart. The Vikings just lost back-to-back games after going 5-0 to start the season. Ultimately, Flacco's the 39-year-old vet that gives this team a chance to win every single week. He really does. I was saying in this before the news that if it's Richardson, I don't want anything to do with the Vikings as 6-point dogs, nothing. But or with the Colts, sorry. But now it's moved to 5. Even with it moving to 5, a point with Joe Flacco, I still like it. The Vikings have been a little bit exposed over the last couple of weeks. Joe Flacco is a grizzled, wily vet that can move the football. And guess what? With Pittman, with Taylor, with Josh Downs, even Alec Pierce, he has weapons. He's got weapons. So yeah, on the road, give me the Colts +5. Flacco's back, baby, and we're gonna ride this wave as long as we can until it crashes. Let's close out the week with the Bucs and the Chiefs. Chiefs 8.5-point favorites, 44.5-point total. You guys know what we have to do here. You can fade it, that's fine. But if you've been fading this trend all season on Mahomes, you've lost a lot of money. You know what we have to do here? Fade Mahomes as a big favorite, bet him as a dog. And just to keep you guys up to date on this, our Chiefs picks this season, when they've been big favorites, we bet the Bengals as 6.5-point dogs, Chargers is 8.5-point dogs, Raiders is 10-point dogs. All 3 were wins for us. All 3 of the dogs covered, despite the Chiefs winning all of those games straight up. And look, it's weird, but it's the way this team plays. And I'm not a big trends guy, but this is kind of one that's won me a lot of money, and I'm going to stick with it. And they might go out there and demolish the shorthanded Bucs, but it doesn't take away from the trends that's played out with Mahomes over the years. It's entirely possible they smoke them, but look, this is one of the few trends that's been good to us in the NFL. And hey, Baker Mayfield's been so damn good that even without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, look at last week against a good Falcons team. They stuck around. He was excellent. Made Cade Otton look like prime Rob Gronkowski. So yeah, we'll go Bucs +8.5. Hey, I'll have a Thursday video in depth for that Jets game and that Houston game. I'll have one for Monday as well for anything I missed. A lot more props. And all of my props, parlays, ladders, round robins, straight picks, sides, everything early goes over and tails on the Discord in the Odd Shopper app. So if you want to join me again, NFL 24, 50% off. Appreciate you guys hanging out. As always, have a great week, and we'll see you back here Thursday for every pick for that Thursday night football game. Peace.